Welcome to the Green Living Now podcast. I'm your host, Amy Todisco, your trusted guide to true health freedom. If you're tired of feeling overwhelmed by toxins, frustrated by mixed messages about wellness, or just craving a simple, more natural way to thrive, you're in the right place. Each week, we bring you eye opening insights, empowering stories, and practical tools to help you reclaim your health, detox your life, and live in harmony with the earth. In this episode, I'm talking with Fallon Jordan, a brain health coach who's all about healing from the inside out. We cover everything from decluttering and brain scans to trauma, energy work, hydration, and even how trampolines can help your health. It's a super eye opening conversation with lots of tips for you to use, and you don't want to miss it. So let's get started. Fallon Jordan, welcome. How
Thank
are
you
you?
so much. I'm amazing. I'm so grateful to be here.
I'm so delighted to talk with you. You have quite a story. First, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit?
Absolutely. So my name is Fallon. I am from Maine. I am a brain health coach, and we'll kind of talk about what that actually is. And what I've done is I've blended my love for holistic mental health because mental health is really brain health, which includes functional medicine. We're going to talk a lot about non-toxic living in our mind, body, and spirit. Combine all of that with my love and natural talent for decluttering organization and making spaces more beautiful and more efficient. And I put all of that together into the different things that I help clients with. I like to say that I can really help anyone who's ready for rapid transformation, especially if you're going to let me into your home. We're going to go through everything and especially the items in your home one by one, reading the ingredients, teaching you about them, and of course, replacing them with healthier things. And then same with actual items, the emotional psychic toxin of this gift you were given from someone who maybe you're not like vibing so much with anymore. We need to go through that process. I
Let me
have,
just interrupt you for one quick second because I'm
yeah,
curious about the link between the decluttering and all the other brain health work. So if you could just kind of help us see the connection a little bit better.
absolutely. If you're going to declutter your mind and your home, you're going to create more space for the things that matter. And so when you're decluttering your mind, that's mental, emotional, cognitive. A lot of stuff can be going on with toxins that's impacting our actual physical brain. And I can literally read a brain scan and tell what you are susceptible to. And then by decluttering your home of things that are no longer serving you or not promoting joy, peace, and clarity, we're going to actually make your space into the space that you want it. I tell my clients to pick the 3 core feelings that they want for their home, and that should be equal to the 3 core feelings that you want in your life. We're going through those processes together. Again, full holistic approach as far as mental, emotional, cognitive, energetic, environmental, all of the things. I never leave a rock unturned with my clients. If you have mold in your home, you have mold in your body.
Yes.
And getting rid of mold is the legit protocol that you have to do for 8 weeks, and you have to change your life for 8 weeks.
Wow. Okay. So
Then,
let's get into how this all came about for you. How did you come to be doing this type of work?
yeah, I was just having one of those rare days because at this point in my life, I didn't believe in God. And I just said, like, I'm checking out if you don't give me my mission because I'm floundering around in my life. I feel like literally a piece of shit that's not doing anything. I know I have this big mission. Help me. And I found a front desk job at a psychiatric clinic on Craigslist.
Wow. And how
And
many years ago was this?
this was in 2011.
Wow. Okay. So 14 years. Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
And it was a front desk job at a holistic psychiatry clinic where they actually did brain scans that measured blood flow and brain activity, including seeing dementia patterns 20 years before you have symptoms.
Wow.
So just friendly, loving, overarching clarity for everyone listening that what Amy is teaching you is actually helping you prevent dementia because dementia so much is about toxic exposure.
Right. And inflammation, right? Yep.
Exactly. So I started at the front desk and then I just kind of fell in love with what I was learning because as someone who was diagnosed very early in life with ADHD and everything that happened with that label, especially because girls usually it's harder to diagnose them, or at least that's what we're told, which is like
Right.
another freaking lie. It was very clear on my brain scan that me tripping and falling into the fireplace when I was learning how to walk, and I didn't want to learn how to walk. I wanted to run and sprint. And it's a brain injury, basically, is what I had when I was one.
Parents didn't know this.
They were just told that it's genetic ADHD and that I would always be like that and to just deal with it.
So they had no idea that this fall that you had at age 1 actually caused the ADHD?
Not until I got my brain scan and I call and told them.
Holy mackerel. So when you say brain scan, what are they actually doing?
So it's not an MRI, it's not a CT scan, which in my opinion, 99% of getting those is actually pointless unless you're looking for a tumor.
Oh,
Most
okay.
people come to me and came to this particular organization. It's called Amen Clinics
Okay.
with a normal MRI brain scan because it's just making sure that your entire brain is there and there isn't a foreign object in there.
Oh,
What
wow.
Amen Clinics does is brain SPECT scans. So SPECT's just the science some people like to know. Single proton emission computerized tomography, not important. But what it does is it measures blood flow and brain activity. And we compare that to a database of, at the time, my brain scan was compared to the healthiest 28-year-old female that they could find.
Mhm.
And it showed a brain injury, it showed multiple because I'd had multiple. It
Ooh.
showed that, yes, I had ADHD, but I had 5 of the 7 types based on the areas of my brain that were low in activity and the
Huh.
areas of my brain that were high in activity,
Okay.
which a lot of that was related to emotional trauma as well as the physical trauma.
Mhm.
And they have a really interesting study about looking at TBI, which stands for traumatic brain injury,
Right.
and a concussion is a traumatic brain injury. Do make anyone tell you that there's different levels. A brain injury is a brain injury, as you're going to learn
Mm.
about my mental health journey,
Right.
and also PTSD. And that brain SPECT imaging is the most powerful way to decipher between TBI and PTSD. And I loved that they did it with the most severe patients they could find in that distinction, which was military population and NFL players. And
Oh,
I
that
tell
makes total
people, if we can help those people, then we can help anybody.
absolutely. And so this particular type of brain scan, is there any radiation involved, like an X-ray?
It's an isotope that's injected before you go into the scan room. Thank you so much for reminding because this is a key piece.
Okay.
It's not like an MRI where you're getting put in there.
It's not sending dye throughout your system,
I mean,
an
in
MRI?
essence, it is a
Oh,
dye.
it is.
Like they
Okay.
usually just use a different word. Isotope
Okay.
sounds better. But I mean, I'm the most sensitive person in the world. Anyone who's ever tried to stick me with a needle up until this point, I would not only pass out, but I would actually have a full body seizure, which would cause more traumatic brain injuries that were actually visible on my scan.
Oh, good Lord. Okay.
Yeah. So like if I tell people, I'm like, if I can do it, you can do it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I was
yeah. So you
claustrophobic,
didn't have any
I was
reaction to
needle phobic. No.
yeah,
And so you literally lay on a table, which is nice
yeah,
and comfy and cozy. And I
yes.
like to sleep with a fan. The sound of the machine sounds like a fan. So I'll like literally fall asleep while I'm on the table because I've had
Okay.
5 of these brain scans to track my progress. And then the camera actually moves around your head. So
Okay.
if you're claustrophobic, you're gonna do great. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
A lot of my patients were little kids. They thought it was really cool. They're going to school saying I got a really cool brain scan. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. And I
And how
tell,
long does it last?
so you're actually lying still for about 20 minutes,
Okay.
hmm which is
Okay.
really not that bad.
No, that's not so bad, especially where it's not claustrophobic, like you said. And
Yeah.
are there any health effects that one needs to be aware of from the scan?
I mean, they've done about
Potentially?
250,000 and never had any side effects
Oh, that's
reported.
great. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in a dream world and in the future, everyone's going to be getting this type of scan at their yearly physical with their doctor. It's
Oh,
just
interesting.
because of big pharma and health insurance companies, they don't want people to have
No
this
coverage.
information.
And no coverage either, right? This is something out of pocket?
It's out of pocket first, but there are some places that will reimburse
Mhm.
because it's, I mean, out of the 250,000 brain scans, it's very rare that anyone didn't have some type of brain injury pattern on their scan. And so if you're
Yeah.
diagnosed with that, then the insurance company does have to reimburse
Oh.
you.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's cool. So
Yeah,
they can reimburse you even for the first one if some damage has been found?
correct. And then
Wow.
also, if you've taken a billion antidepressants and anti-anxieties and the
Yeah.
insurance company is like, you figure out something that works and we'll work with you,
Yeah.
you can actually get the supplements covered
Oh,
as well
wow.
as the reimbursement. Mhm.
Let's rewind a little
Oh,
bit back. Awesome. All right. So 1-year-old, you fell into a fireplace, you got a brain injury. then you have this position at the front desk of this holistic brain practice. What did you call it?
Psychiatry, brain health.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. And so, okay, continue.
Perfect. So I just fell in love with what we're doing because it was helping me. And because I saw plain as day that like I actually did have PTSD and that it was more severe than my ADHD, I had to do a lot of deep reflection, right? And like so many people who are unaware of their trauma, they're comparing it to other people's trauma. Well, this
Sure.
person was kidnapped and raped and all this stuff. They're like, oh, my stuff's not that bad. But it's clear as day, like, nope, it's actually really bad. And this is the reason why you've been feeling so depressed and you've
That's
had
a really,
panic
I think
attacks.
that's a very important point, Fallon, because I know people look at different things that somebody might say, oh, well, that's just a minor thing that happened. But if it shows up in your brain as severe, and what would show that? The amount of blood flow to that spot, or how do you even tell?
Correct. Yeah. So if you do start learning more about the brain SPECT scans, which I highly recommend,
Yeah, I'm going to.
perfect. So the way that I think of the brain and what we're looking at in activity is like a clock. Okay. And so this is 12 o'clock right at the top.
Yes.
And yes, it's your prefrontal cortex, but your anterior cingulate is also here, which is tied to your limbic system.
Okay.
So your emotions, your thoughts, your behaviors,
Okay.
your trauma. So when you have overactivity at 12 o'clock, like mine, that looked like, ironically, it looked like a giant mix between a Christmas tree and a penis, and I had a sex addiction problem.
Oh, that's wild.
Wild. And I mean, I've seen thousands of scans, and it's rare that you actually see faces or things that look
Or
like
shapes that are
something.
recognizable.
There's no accident, right? At
Wow.
this time, I was having an affair with a married man who very much knew that he was married. I very much knew that he was married. All of our friends knew. It was a really not good situation, and clearly, like, very reflective of where my self-esteem and self-confidence were at,
Sure.
right? Yeah. So overactivity here
Yeah.
is trauma, which is a
Right.
serotonin problem, which is why some doctors and some people try SSRIs, because we actually know that that's what they need. However, SSRIs really should be the last thing that anyone's prescribed because they have such dangerous side effects. They have literally a black box warning.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely crazy. So I had overactivity at 12 o'clock on the clock. I had overactivity at 3 and 6 o'clock. And then I had overactivity in the middle, which is where the depression and the mood issues were.
Okay.
And
Let me
then,
ask you a question.
yeah,
So if somebody had a brain tumor that was removed, what would that show on the scan, do you think?
it would show that there's no blood flow there.
Oh, okay. And
So like
so,
there might be a little ball where there's no blood flow. And the way that the scans are measured, like on the
huh,
sciencey side, is when you're laying on the table and the camera's moving around you. And this
right.
is important if someone's listening and not watching. It's taking 55 pictures of 55 slices of brain activity.
Yep.
And so it's on a 9-point scale. So me having +3, +4 of overactivity means that I had like the most severe overactivity.
Mhm.
Having -1, -2 in certain areas means that it was mildly underactive. And then
Okay.
obviously whatever is considered 0 is what's considered completely normal compared
Mhm.
to the healthiest female of that age that they could
Okay.
find.
And so let's say somebody has this no blood flow to that spot where the brain tumor was. Is there stuff that you can do to help them heal
Yes.
from that experience? Okay, cool. All right.
Yes. And so again, you can reference the Amen, AMEN NFL study.
Oh,
Again,
I'm
there,
gonna
it's
do that.
yeah, that and then the distinguishing PTSD from TBI in military. If you literally
Okay.
Google those two things, you'll see the research.
Yep.
And it shows that when you take certain types of supplements that have been peer reviewed and scientifically studied, they actually
Right.
improve blood flow.
Oh, even to
They're
spots that didn't have any.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had 5 scans and my scan got better each time. So there are supplements that are proven to improve blood flow immediately. And then there's also foods that you can, that's why nutrition is so important and why
Yeah.
some people nutrition was the missing piece in their mental health healing journey
Yep.
because they're literally using food as their prescription.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of hyperbaric oxygen therapy that instantly boosts blood flow. Absolutely amazing. And again, very soon that'll be as normal as having a microwave in your home.
Right. So
Helps
one
with
thing I
everything.
heard about hyperbaric was that you can't have it if you have a shunt in your brain. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct. So,
I'm asking these specific questions. My daughter 9 years ago had a benign brain tumor that almost killed her. So I'm curious
gosh,
about, yeah, I'm curious about all these different pieces. I mean, I'm
yeah.
curious about the topic in general, but it's, obviously that is sitting there waiting for me to
Oh
go,
my gosh,
wonder
yeah.
what kind of benefits she might get from this type of healing work that you do. Oh,
Totally. And I will be totally honest, like all of these things are like the sciencey stuff that I studied for 14 years.
yep.
But then when I started doing energy healing and tapping into my higher self and the gifts that I have as a healer,
Yeah.
that changed everything. I know for sure I can help her. For
Oh,
sure.
sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
There's little
All right.
things that you can do to improve blood flow too. You can literally just set this intention. This is on my YouTube. You just set this intention and you can literally just tap the right side of your head to your left shoulder and then the opposite. And like
Okay.
that will literally improve blood flow if you're setting that
Oh, so
intention.
simple techniques. Okay.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones. And I just happened to tell my friend to do it for her COVID and it helped. And
Mhm.
that is closing your eyes and then moving your eyes from left to right slowly
Okay.
10 times.
Mhm.
And then after that, you pause. And then you go from right to left 10 times. And then you pause. And then you
Mm.
go left to right in a figure eight. And then you do a right to left in a figure eight. And that's the beauty of energy work and why I'm so obsessed with it is because these simple things make a huge difference.
Right.
And not everybody has the money to get a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. And if they've
Right.
had a stunt or, they have NPH, like they can't use it. If they
Right.
have a cochlear implant, they can't
Right.
use it. This is the thing is there's always something. There's
Yeah.
always
Yep.
something that you aren't hearing about and isn't on a Facebook ad that's gonna be the thing that helps you.
Yep.
And thankfully for me, a lot of that is the energy healing. And because I can now see, I can literally look at somebody if we set the intention together, like I want to see your brain scan.
Mhm.
And I just do an energetic brain scan and I can see the areas that are low and high in activity. And I can give you things to research on your own. And I always tell people to only use pubmed.gov
Yep.
for your research because it's peer
Hmm.
reviewed. You can't bullshit your way into the papers there.
So it's not corporate
Real
owned.
deal. Exactly. When I tell everybody that much of your life problem could actually be fixed if you get your vitamin D blood level to 80 and you keep it at 80 for the rest of your life.
Oh, interesting. And I know that was definitely one of the things that not having proper vitamin D3 made people more vulnerable to COVID.
100%.
Yeah. So are
100%.
you saying then just like sitting here talking to me, you can actually get an energetic read on my brain?
Yeah. I'm not doing that. If we
Oh,
set the
that's wild.
intention and I brought in my angels and did a
Yeah.
protective ceremony ritual. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's the reason why all of the things that I'm sharing led up to where I'm at right now. Right.
And so what's really interesting to me is I'm hearing you talk about a very sciencey kind of stuff, even though the clinic was holistic,
Yeah.
right? They were still using these sort of sciencey tools of the brain
Hmm.
scan. And so how did you make the leap from that to the energy healing? And just so you know, that is not wild and crazy to me because I am a former energy and massage therapist. So you're speaking, language that I'm understanding, but I'm curious about how you got to that next level.
Yeah. So I also just want to share about the vitamin D thing real quick.
Oh, yes,
So
sure.
you go to pubmed.gov and you type in vitamin D and then
Yeah.
like any disorder, including suicidal thoughts, it'll tell
Mm,
you there's over 100,000 published articles of what vitamin D does because it's a neurohormone. It's not just a vitamin. It's a neurohormone, which is essential for every single cell in your brain and body, just like omega-3 is essential for every single cell in your body. And if
yep.
you're vegetarian, you can get it from algae, but that's really
And do you
important.
yeah, that's very important. I had no idea it was that far reaching. And then do you have recommendations around what supplements you have found to be the most helpful?
Yeah, so Brain MD,
Yep.
fantastic. Pure
That's a
encapsulation,
supplement?
that's a supplement brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Brain MD and then
Okay.
Pure encapsulations are fantastic.
Oh, I've never heard of either one. Okay. I'll have
Yeah,
to
really high quality. And again,
yeah.
like I've seen the studies, I've seen the before and after pictures of
Wow.
myself and my clients. I mean, my brain is healthier today at age 39 than it's been in my entire life.
That's really cool.
Yeah, therefore I never
Yeah.
have to worry about getting dementia, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing,
Yeah.
especially in this society. Dementia is such a popular and horrific disease.
I have a course on it, and it will literally change your entire life and your entire family's life if you do even just 50% of the things I tell you to do in that course.
Wow.
Yeah,
Cool.
super cool. Going through this healing journey, I see the PTSD scan. I'm like, well, thankfully, a lot of my friends now are trauma therapists and they're offering to do
Interesting.
EMDR with me and they're offering to do brain spotting and they're offering to do hypnotherapy.
Right. Wait, brain spotting. I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, so EMDR is the rapid eye movement,
Yes.
desensitization reprocessing. Brain spotting is stopping and focusing.
Oh, okay.
So even right now, like if you think of going through what you went through with your daughter, like if I put my
Yep.
finger here
Right.
versus here versus here versus here, like where are you going to feel the most activated?
Okay.
And then where do you feel the most comfortable? And throughout the session, which anyone who does brain spotting is also doing EMDR,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's a reason why they do one versus the other.
Hmm.
They bring you from where you're the most triggered to the least triggered, and it's based on your eyes because this is why I'm so obsessed with decluttering and organization and like having the best home because your eyes are catching everything that's going through your environment, not just what you're actually seeing. And it's
Right.
going to the cerebellum, which is where 50% of your neurons are. And if
Yep.
you're thinking of your brain activity as a clock, the cerebellum would be kind of like 4 to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
That's where you want that activity back here. And that's the strongest connection to our eyes. And that's the most important key piece that developed as we were developing into the full human that we are was
Mhm.
that connection between the eyes and the cerebellum. And so that's why eye-based trauma therapy works because every single thing that you're experiencing is based on your eye movements. So when you have to have an
Mhm.
uncomfortable conversation with somebody, you most likely look down.
Yeah.
When you're really excited to see someone, you look straight into their eyes, right? When you're
Okay.
falling in love with somebody, like you can't get
Yeah.
enough of their eyes, right? Very important. If you've never seen a picture of the eyes next to like a nebula universe and how similar they look, it's really cool. It really
That's
trips you
neat.
out. And the
Wow.
more that you do healing work and your consciousness is raising and your dormant DNA is being turned on, your eyes actually change. And I want to share
Interesting.
this because it's like the most powerful thing in the world.
Okay.
If you can look at yourself 2 minutes a day, so I do it while I'm brushing my teeth, you literally look in the mirror into your eyeball
Yep.
and you say, I love you, Fallon. I love you first name, obviously.
Yeah.
You can say, I love you, love me too. That's totally fine. You,
Right.
just, you say, I love you, Fallon. I will never leave you. What do you need today to feel fulfilled or to feel more
Oh,
peace or more clarity or whatever it is in
right.
your life that you're seeking? And the more that you do that, it's instantly boosting your self-love because you're telling yourself through your eyes. And it's also raising your consciousness because you're giving your eyes love.
Nice.
Yeah, super
That's
cool.
awesome. We were
More
talking about
topics to go.
decluttering and eyes, and so one thing I just wanted to kind of enhance was the idea that if you're in a really cluttered environment, want to talk a little bit about why that is a negative thing on however many levels you have discovered
Totally.
that to be a problem.
Yeah, the clutter in that information, which is all of the things that are in the clutter, right? If
Yes.
it's a bunch of books that you say you're going to read and you're not going to read, like that could be processed by the brain as you're a failure. You always say you're
Right,
not
and you may
gonna
not
do it, but
even be consciously aware of that, right? It's just
probably not.
if you look at those books and then on some level there's a thought, "Oh, geez, I never read those." Right? It
Exactly.
could
And
be
it's
just
because
a
you're
subconscious.
it's subconscious because your eyes are processing this in the cerebellum, which is where a lot of your subconscious brain is sitting.
Right.
So a lot of this stuff is mindfulness and asking a lot of questions for my clients so that they get that stack of books is making you feel this way. Why don't we move it to somewhere else?
Right.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
How do we use that to our advantage so that the things in your field of view are making you so happy?
Right.
They're making you feel
And I would
connected.
throw in the little piece too. I don't know, are you familiar with feng shui?
Yes.
Right. So feng shui also plays a role here as far as what sectors of our home has more clutter than others.
Yep.
Those sectors may have more trouble, whether it's, your wealth or your relationships or
Mm.
health, what have you. So there's so many different reasons why I think trying to keep your home as clutter-free as possible and have it only reflect the things that you really feel good about, right? Because even
Mhm.
though having all these books might be wonderful, it's not so great if you're looking at that pile and thinking, oh, geez, I haven't read all of that stuff or, whatever the
Yeah.
thoughts are. Okay.
And it's funny because, clutter is not always bad. So
Right.
Dr. John DeMartini is a psychiatrist turned coach and speaker who's pretty famous. He travels around his yacht around the entire world, and his books are everywhere in his office because they promote his highest value, which is education and teaching. So his books
Okay.
mean something different to him,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Right.
Somebody else like me could go in there and be like, what is all this stuff doing here? But to him, it's actually calming and making him happy.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
so, yeah. And the same thing, like the biggest example I say, if you want to make a fast change in your environment, is if your nightstand represents your life
Hmm.
because it's the first thing that you see when you wake up, right? You grab your
So
phone.
almost like an altar in a way.
Yeah. I mean, your phone's there, your charger's there. Maybe you have a book, maybe you have a picture. But then, okay, where did you get this nightstand? Does this nightstand make you feel your three core
Mhm.
feelings that you said are what you want to experience in your home and in your mind and your energetic body?
Right.
And so just making even that change for a lot of people is helpful. Dream world, your bed is by itself and your
Right.
phone isn't in your room. It's in another room far away from you. And your bedroom is only used for sleep and sex. Like that's
Right.
really it. TV in a bedroom, not so great, right?
Right.
So again, what is it to that person? We just need to make sure that it's helping them support their three feelings and their goals, which are the same. Your
Right.
goals should be feelings. I want to feel abundant. I want to feel free. I want to feel open. I want to feel connected. I want to feel sexy. Whatever it is that you're allowing yourself to say, these are my new life goals.
Yep.
How can we have your home reflect that?
Gotcha. Okay. So now make the link for us, if you would, from the more scientific aspects of brain health to the cool energy healing stuff that you've been talking about.
Totally. So when I was doing a lot of trauma therapy with my friends, colleagues, we always get invited to stuff like, hey, I'm trying out this new modality. Do you want to do it? And I'm like,
Wow.
okay, sure. And then I'm thinking of this little girl before she shut down all of her psychic gifts. I remember going into, quote unquote, like witchy store, right? Where it had like the crystals
Oh,
and like
yeah. My
the
favorite kind of
incense.
stores.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I went into that as a little girl, and I remember saying to myself, when I'm rich, I'm going to have all this shit in my house and it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to have the
Wow.
coolest house full of cool stuff, like giant
Yep.
crystals.
Okay.
So she is now in the driver's seat of my life, little Fallon. And so I just started learning more things. The people that have been with me either as a friend or as a colleague since the beginning of
Yeah.
my journey in 2011 in holistic health, they're like, yeah, you're doing exactly what I always thought you'd be doing. This is what you were meant to do.
That's
And
so cool.
so spirit was just kind of leading me in a really fun, different way, right?
So it sounds like you've gotten invited to explore these different areas with different friends slash colleagues, et cetera. And then that's
Yeah.
just kind of opened you up, right? Back to when you were working at the front desk of the holistic brain health
Yeah.
place. How did you go from being a person who was working there to actually doing this kind of work yourself?
I
Obviously,
was
you were
just,
intrigued by what you saw, but I'm
yeah,
imagining there must be more.
I've always been a server. Like I love being of service to people.
Yep.
And it's crazy because when I think back, I'm like, the stuff that I was doing those first 6 months at the front desk before I got promoted are some of the things that I'm still teaching people right now, which is, hey, look at this little checklist. It's going to open your mind to some of the reasons why you're struggling. A lot of people would come in after a very long drive, after a very stressful situation. This is the last dollars to their name, and they're hoping this is the thing that works. So this is the kind of energy I was in. And
Yep.
they're like, my son needs this more than me, but I'm hoping I can get something out of it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, here are the free resources you can literally look at while you're sitting in the waiting room in and out of all of your appointments all day.
I see.
And so I just became obsessed with it. And then there was an intake job. And I was like, this is so cool. You literally get to hear people's life stories. Like, that's my favorite, right? That's why
Gotcha.
I was basically like a weird stalker of nursing homes because I just like to hang out with old people and listening to their stories. This is free wisdom. Like, why would I not
Yeah.
want this, right?
What a gift for them to be able to be heard and have somebody
Yeah.
interested in their story.
Yeah. My best friends growing up were in their 80s, and overnight she developed dementia. And she's one of the reasons why I'm grateful that I'm doing the work that I'm doing in that arena. This is just devastating and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so the universe delivered very
Yeah.
quickly. And again, at this point, you could only have the position if you had a master's in counseling and you were obtaining your hours for therapy. I'm sitting over here with my barely bachelor's degree, and her husband had to move instantly across the country for his job. And they're like, we know you really want this job, to the point I was going to get a master's degree to come back to the company to do the
Oh,
job.
wow.
And they said, we want to see how you do. We're going to give you a shot.
Wow. So you didn't have to do the master's because
Mhm.
they saw potential in you. And obviously you had a drive to do this work. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. And is this clinic in Maine?
No, in Atlanta.
Oh, okay. All right.
There's several throughout the country, and the closest would be New York City to New
Okay.
Englanders.
So you were living in Atlanta at that time.
Yeah. So I lived in Atlanta for 3 years before I got the job at the clinic.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Feeling
So
very
you got
abundant.
promoted. You got to be an
Mhm.
intake person.
And it's not counseling. It's taking
Right.
information and giving
And you're
people hope
listening.
and feeling like,
Yeah.
wow, I can't believe you went through that. That's
Yeah.
so horrible, but we're so glad you're finally going to get answers now. The brain scan.
Right.
And so I don't think it was very long where I was like, okay, so these people need care after.
Yeah.
And, what can we do to make that happen? And
Right. Because it's
so
one thing to get the information from the scan, but then what did the clinic offer after that?
exactly. It's a entire life health plan. It's extremely complex.
Oh,
Without the brain scan and trying to understand the brain scan, it's complex because it's
okay.
literally everything that you're going to need to do for the rest of your life to like have the best brain.
Wow.
Priceless information, right? I was overwhelmed and I'm like, give me everything now kind of person. I've always been
Yeah,
like
me
that.
too.
And I'm going to
Me
implement
too.
it immediately. And so I helped establish a aftercare program, and we were able to tweak it so that we didn't have to make any crazy new hires. We just tweaked the way the role was, and rolling out that initiative helped get this clinic, which at that time it was 75% of their clients got 72% improved quality of life after 6 months of implementing their treatment plan.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And then within 2 years of this new initiative with the aftercare program that cost the clients no more money, we just literally
Right.
called to check on them out of the kindness of our hearts from a clinical standpoint with healthy boundaries.
Yes.
We were able to significantly increase that to about 85% of the clients getting 80% better,
Wow.
which
That's
is
pretty
really, really amazing. There's a reason I like doing coaching containers because,
Sure.
as you can imagine, if you're still listening to me, it's kind of like drinking water from a fire hose and like trying to keep up with everything I'm saying and telling you to do and recommending your research. But then you need help with the integration. You need help with, okay, so I feel like my entire life is taking supplements. And I'm like, well, it kind of is right now. And this is how we can actually reorganize your life so that you don't feel overwhelmed, but you feel excited and joyful about your supplements. And I can't tell you how many times I just have somebody put on a sticky note on their supplement of what the supplement's actually helping with. It's
Oh,
not
wow.
helping your focus. It's helping you not forget the trash. So it's actually helping you be a better husband. So your vitamin D says, this helps me be a better husband.
Oh, wow.
So like,
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
and it works.
That really personalizes it to that person because, we can read about the different vitamins and supplements and see the various different health benefits that they are purported to deliver.
Mhm.
And, that doesn't necessarily have as much meaning as, hey, I can be a better husband or I can be a better wife just by taking this particular vitamin supplement.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's
So
amazing.
let me ask you, what would you say are the top 3 recommendations that people can consider as far as improving their brain health?
So the vitamin D, keeping that at 80 throughout life, which
Yep.
means you have to continuously keep checking it,
Yep.
because if you get sick, you take a hit. If you get another concussion like I did, when I finally got my vitamin D in the 60s and I had worked so hard, bumped back down to 50 after one medical related concussion. Cause again, I just like cannot handle needles. But for whatever reason, when I did the scans, it was totally fine.
And you're able
So
to get blood tests to get your D tested?
yeah, you just have your doctor run it along with all the other sometimes pointless stuff that they're running.
I
know
mean,
you-
just even getting blood drawn now, you're okay with that?
yeah, thankfully I can do it. I'm still not at the point where I can donate a full pint yet, but I'm getting better.
Awesome. So, wow. Okay. All right. So vitamin D, number
Omegas.
2. Omegas.
Omegas.
Okay. And those are usually fish oils.
And then you
Yep.
can also do algae. So with the fish oil, the Brain MD has one, pure encapsulations, but Nordic Naturals is also
Oh, yeah,
another
that
company.
brand I know. Yep.
If you don't pay attention to the quality of your supplements. It's going to hurt you more than you even realize. If you get a Costco brand
Right.
supplement and you stab a hole in it, like the gel, right?
Yep. Yep.
And you drizzle that gel on some styrofoam,
Yeah.
you're not going to like what you see happen.
Oh, good God.
It's very terrifying. It literally
Well,
shrivels and disappears.
what's actually in it then?
Who only
Who
knows?
knows?
Who
I'm
knows?
guessing you're going to say it's going to like burn a hole or burn.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Okay.
Well, and
So
that's why going to any drugstore or supermarket, you don't want to buy your vitamins there.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
So vitamin D, omega-3, and then high quality water, and ideally hydrogen water.
Ooh, okay. So we're just about to get a hydrogen water maker thing. So tell me why this particular hydrogen water thing appealed to you.
Because I was really into hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is still fantastic. But if I can get what I need and this
From hydrogen water.
for a lot less money,
Totally.
that would be fantastic. And I just
And you can travel with them too. We're going to get one that's a travel.
Yeah. I mean, it's helping with depression, anxiety.
Just
So you think of our body, right? We're just a bunch of cells and we need H2O and we need enough of the H and we need enough of the O. And as you know, and your listeners, some of our water is literally making us sick because it's just crap, right?
Yeah, loaded with
And
toxic
so,
chemicals.
yeah, so you think of how much work it takes to find really good, trusted water, but then you start to actually look at the H2O that's in it, and then you're like, oh, wow, this actually makes more sense. And then to me, it made sense why the hyperbaric oxygen was being so helpful. And I'm like, okay, so there's something to this. Like, our entire body is water. We are water beings. We're deeply connected to water and the moon and all that. It just made sense to me. And of course, my first question always is going to help my cat because I'll do anything for my cat.
Oh, that's cool.
My clients will do anything for their animals. They're like, my dog's arthritis was gone in a week.
Good grief.
The website
Okay, I'll
is
check it out.
beautiful as someone who judges people by their website.
Uh-oh. I don't know if you've seen mine or not.
It's so cute. I love your website. I love it. I want websites to be authentic to the person. The cool thing too is I'm going to use this as an example. Literally, if this was the hydrogen water,
Yep.
you just literally put on your skin if you have a problem and it will disappear.
You mean, so if somebody has a rash or a bee sting or something like that, you put the hydrogen water and it has a bigger healing capacity.
Yeah.
Or probably assists the body in healing it faster.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, that's cool. All right. So we talked about vitamin D, we talked about omega-3s and water, but specifically hydrogen water, you're saying.
Yeah. And making sure you're hydrated as early in the morning as possible.
Right.
So
Like first thing when you get up, you should drink water.
And to try and drink 100% of water that you need for the day, to try and drink that earlier in the day, because it's only going to help you feel benefited. And the reason we know this is because back in the day when like someone had to go to the well, which was usually the dudes, right? Because they could carry more water. So when they would get to the well, them and everyone else who was with them, who was going to be a water carrier, would drink as much water as they possibly could.
Oh, interesting.
So that everything they brought back was for the women and children.
Everybody else. Oh, cool.
And the men very rarely complained of aches and pains or fatigue or anxiety, while the women and children did. And of course, you know, there's probably other biological reasons that that was the case.
Right, right.
But my Chinese medicine doctor told me this story and I was told he cures cancer. So I listened to whatever he tells me to do.
Wow. So one thing I do know about as far as water is that drinking just regular, I mean, even if you have pure, clean water, right? There's a difference in the assimilation of the water with just regular water versus hydrogen water, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So because one of the things I've heard, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about there are people that are overhydrating and that is actually not good because you can drink too much, but then you end up, you know, excreting so much and you're losing electrolytes and other things if you drink too much.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy because I learned this, oh gosh, I don't know, many years ago. And I noticed that when I was drinking too much water, I would literally get a zit and my skin doesn't look good. And I'm not the kind of person who cares that much about how beautiful my skin is. It just usually is because I take care of the main reasons why you have skin issues, which is staying hydrated and doing vitamin D. But that's been huge. And with the hydrogen water, you actually only have to drink a little bit of water to be hydrated for the entire day.
That's awesome.
So I laugh
for somebody that excretes very easily, that's a a bonus to not have to drink as much water, but to be more hydrated.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So what have I not asked you that I should have?
I just wanted to share
Yes.
that I've been pretty much always very high performance. It's just part of my people pleasing, the types of ADHD that I felt like I was always having to do stuff and always
Right.
needing recognition and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So for me to have the lab results that I had of
Mm.
the worst, most toxic molds and
Oh, that's right. We didn't talk about the mold.
yeah, mold, mercury, and lead toxicity that my doctor had ever seen. And this is all that they do. Very crazy, which is why I'm so passionate about prevention. And I
Okay.
get very triggered when people are like, oh, I don't have to worry about that. I'm so healthy. And I'm like, we'll see.
So, okay. So how did you get such exposure? How did you have so much of that in your body?
I just assume it's from like all the really shitty apartments I lived at in college.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the reason I loved doing what I did and helping so many people, and my doctor who helped me detox from this stuff, we were laughing when he told me. He's like, you're even more amazing than I thought, because I can't believe you've had this level of toxicity in your body and you're still
Right.
going through your life this way.
Performing at a high level, even with
Yeah.
all that stuff.
He's like, I have patients who can't even get a bed. They haven't had a job in 10 years because the mold
Wow.
won't leave their body. So, being myself, I was like, all right, so what are we going to do? And he's like, well, we can go hard for 6 weeks, or we can go, medium for 10 weeks. And I was like, why don't we go hard for 8 weeks? Because I don't even want to worry about any of the shit being in my body.
Yeah.
And he said, yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
so I went hard for 8 weeks with my protocol from him, which is a lot of supplements and a lot of medicinal food
Okay.
and a lot of jumping on my trampoline for lymphatic drainage.
Uh,
And I went from having literally off the charts immeasurable mold, mercury, and lead toxicity to 0.
that is remarkable. Holy
Yeah.
mackerel.
Yeah.
Trampoline versus those vibrating things. What's your opinion?
I'm a huge trampoline fan. I've been obsessed with trampolines my whole life. I can't wait to have my own trampoline park in my backyard that
Oh, wow.
go
Okay.
into my pool. Of course, I want one that's lower to the ground so that we're not jumping off and
Falling and breaking
wrong
things.
angles. But it's like literally impossible not to have joy and be happy if you jump on a trampoline.
I've even seen dogs doing it, having a blast.
Yeah. So I just want to give an example.
Okay.
If you, because this is what happened to me, and I'm so grateful my friends know me as well as they knew me. If you've ever been love bombed by the most amazing, beautiful person who you thought was your person, and then that first or second time that they just kind of disappeared and weren't responding to you, and you have that empty feeling, I'm sure
Okay.
someone here has felt that before.
Sure.
I was in that feeling, and my friends were like, we're taking you to trampoline park, non-negotiable, get your socks.
Oh my gosh.
It really saved me. Like, I was not in a good place. I was so devastated.
Oh.
But
And it made
it
you feel
also,
better.
yeah. And for my ADHD clients, especially children, I tell the family, I'm like, I want you to buy, even if it's a small little
Like
trampoline.
even the little mini tramps.
That's what I use for my mold.
Oh, okay.
Just that tiny little, it was like literally $40 on Amazon, delivered to my door. I loved it. Made me so
And
happy.
how much time did you bounce a day?
I did 2 minutes 3 times a day.
Okay.
And
That's
just,
not bad. That's doable.
And I mean, I lost like 20 pounds in a week because everything was just stuck in my limbs.
So the main benefit to bouncing like that is the lymph drainage to clean out where
And your
everything
lymph
gets stuck.
drainage, yeah. And that's your complete immune system, which could be literally everything that's wrong with you.
So if somebody were trying to embark upon weight loss and they didn't really like to exercise,
2
would
minutes a
that
day.
do it for them?
Yep.
Ooh.
2 minutes a
Got some
day.
people to help with that.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
I mean, especially for kids who are ADHD or anyone out there who's a manifesting generator in human design.
Yeah.
That trampoline in the morning is your saving grace. Your whole life will change in 2 minutes.
That's really cool. Man, this has been so fascinating. You've had such great information. This is the kind of podcast that I love, where somebody is giving away tips, because I do the exact same thing when I'm a guest. Because clearly you can't help but share to help other people. And that's how I feel. And so I really appreciate all of this incredible information. So I know you have a freebie for people. Tell us quickly about what that is.
Yeah. So as a life coach, health coach, whatever label you decide, I've done it all. So I put that in my free PDF guide, which is keeping in mind that your time and energy are the most important, valuable assets in the world. I never want to feel like I'm wasting your time. It's not pages of just useless babbering about
Right.
myself. It's telling you my method, which is the Fallon method, where you are focusing on fun, you're focusing on your authenticity, you're focusing on being a leader in your life, being a leader in your community. You are living your soul purpose. You are learning what it means to be open, what it means to be vulnerable, what it means to expect miracles. And when they arrive, you're like, yes, thank you. And you move on. And then the N is for natural solutions. So that's a lot of like the 3D sciencey stuff.
Cool.
And it
Awesome.
has just journal prompts and information so that you really can take that and all the other resources that I share there, like some of my favorite influencers. One of them specializes in women's hormones, which is basically your brain, because your
Yeah.
hormones change every day as a woman. Big time every week.
Unlike men, men's hormones don't change that often.
Men and women brains are so different that I
Yes.
sometimes laugh that we're even the same species.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there.
Yeah.
I've heard some discussions about how complex the female brain is versus the male brain.
Yeah. So my research in there is Kayla Osterhoff. She's a neuropsychopharmacologyst, something big like that. And she's the expert, and she talks about the 4 different hormone levels that we have throughout the month,
Yeah.
and how we are literally 4 different women throughout the month, and how PMS is not normal. Having painful periods is not normal.
Right.
If you are a female entrepreneur or just like some type of leader in your community,
Yeah.
you can actually set your calendar to your cycle. So when you are menstruating, you are meant to be chilling,
Yeah.
meditating, manifesting. You are not taking on any new projects. You are not deep cleaning your house. You are resting. You are receiving all of the divine codes. So you can
Yeah.
tell the dude or the masculine in your life, hey, I just got
Right.
this amazing business idea. It's going to make you a shit ton of money. You want to hear about it? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it next week when I'm in the implementation planning period of my cycle. Then
Nice.
you're ovulating, and ovulating is when you're the most magnetic. So this is when you want to be networking. This is when you want to
Nice.
go on a first date, like, because you literally look different. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When you start tapping into this, like I'll wake up. I don't even use an app anymore because they're tracking it. And I think that's really sketchy and
I
weird.
don't like that.
But I wake up and I'm like, yep, I can tell I'm ovulating today based on like what's going on with my eyes and like the shape of my face. And I'm like,
Interesting.
what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this energy?
What are my opportunities here?
Yeah. So men
That's
are a
cool.
24-hour cycle, which is fantastic. Love
Okay.
that for them. Love that reliability. But that's when you hear divine masculine, divine feminine.
Yeah.
This is the science part of it. It's understanding these cycles. And like I said, this is just one example of like the amazing people out there who are teaching like world changing concepts, and happens to be one of them.
That's cool.
But it's not just like a guide with a bunch of journal prompts. Like there's like
Right.
fun rabbit holes for you to go down that'll change your life.
Well, I think everyone needs that. So
Yeah.
And so where can people find you? I'll link that freebie in the notes, with the podcast.
Yeah.
But what's the best way for people to reach you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah. So the freebie is just on my website, fallonjordan.com, and you're just going to scroll closer down to the bottom.
Okay.
And then once you're at fallonjordan.com, you'll see a link to my podcast where I talk about brain health and decluttering and organization.
Okay.
You'll see links to energy healing session or a coaching session. My social media links are on my website. I'm very active on Instagram if we have any brand fans here.
Wow. Well, thank you. This is great. So I would encourage everyone to get your freebie and check out your website. And I'm probably going to have you back because there's so much more we can talk about.
We have to be the leaders, because
Absolutely.
who else are they going to learn from? And
Right.
it's pointless for me to walk around and not share this information as often as I can. So I am beyond grateful that you had me on. This is like so freaking
Absolutely.
amazing. But yeah, it's so important for people to know that healing is always possible, and it doesn't matter what you've been told. I'm very, very passionate about that. Like I never think that something can't be healed.
Right. So having that hope is like the first step.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Well, to be continued, I'm sure.
Totally.
Hey, before you go, I've got something exciting to share. I'm running a special giveaway right now. If you grab my free 7-day organic gardening quick start guide by April 2nd, you'll automatically be entered to win a free pass to my $97 organic gardening made simple online course. It's the perfect way to start growing real organic food quickly and easily, no matter what your space or your experience. I'll be announcing the winner on April 3rd, so don't miss your chance. Just go to my website, greenlivingnow.com, and click on the button at the top to enter your name and email, and off you go. Good luck.